right, so good morning. I hope everybody out there is well. Hope your families are well. Hope you had a great Thanksgiving. If you've been following the channel, you know that we've been talking about driver shortage and how driver shortage is impacting the industry, the trucking business, the freight broker business, the world of trucking. And you have some people with some different thoughts. Some people say, truck drivers say that there's really not a shortage of drivers. The drivers are available. The problem is the pay, is the lifestyle for truckers. If those things improved, then you would have drivers readily available. And then you have other people that agree that there's obviously a shortage because the numbers say that there are a shortage. And even if you improved the pay, the shortage would still be there. Some people say that. So I'm a freight broker. I'm on the outside looking in. I don't know exactly what is happening when it comes to the numbers, but I know that there are oftentimes shortages when we're trying to get trucks to cover loads. You know, that's always been an issue. And I guess that's a part of it. You're not always going to have trucks available. Even when you have, I guess, the amount of trucks that, you know, people would look at and say, that's a sufficient number of truckers in the business. You're still going to have shortages from time to time in different places. But with all of that said, I found an article this morning. I was reading, stumbling through Business Insider, and there's an article here that says truck drivers really aren't surprised that the industry's struggling to hire and retain workers. Okay? So now, I want to get your opinion. I want you to tell me, especially truck drivers, I would like to know how you see it. When it comes down to the shortage, when it comes down to what's going on in the trucking business, why there is shortages, I would like to know your opinion on that. What do you see when you see the trucking business? What do you see as the short-term and long-term outlooks on the business? You know, if things stayed the same or if things improved, how do you think it would affect the business long-term, the industry long-term, I should say. But I'm going to read you some things that truck drivers are saying in this article about the truck driving business. Okay? It says, truckers say that the industry's huge labor shortage is no surprise. They attribute it to time away from family, low pay, and the experience of living in a truck. So we were talking about that recently, you know, living in a truck, the lifestyle of a trucker. It is a tough lifestyle, and you got to really want to do that. You got to be committed and dedicated to doing that, to keep doing that consistently over a long period of time. And a lot of people aren't. And if you don't have that dedication, it's going to be hard to live in a truck, it would seem. I know for me, you know, so again, on the outside looking in, that would be a hard pill to swallow. At this age in my life, you know, I wouldn't want to live in a truck. And that's one of the things that people are attributing to being a problem, the lifestyle of truckers. He said, one trucker said he spent more time video chatting to his family than seeing them in person. Now imagine that, when you are trying to raise a family and you as the dad or the father figure in the family, you're always away. And only time you basically communicate with your family is through video. And when we start thinking about having success in our lives, you know, part of that success, the major part of that success is having a successful family. You know, being able to raise our families, lead them and guide them. And when we're always away from home, then it's, you know, relatively hard to do that. And this guy's saying that most of his time raising his 3-year-old daughter has been spent raising her or talking to her via video chat. Another trucker out of Missouri, he says, everything about trucking is bad. He said Leo Alsites, I should say, a trucker of 2 years in Missouri said. It says, goes on, it says the U.S. has a shortage of around 80,000 truck drivers, which has wrought havoc across the U.S. supply chain. 80,000 truck drivers short. Joe Catterman, a trucking instructor in Nebraska, said, it's not even a profession. it's a lifestyle. And that's when this guy was talking about his 3-year-old daughter and literally watching her grow up over video chat. I spend more time video chatting my family than I do actually time with them. It feels more like this is your life. When we go home, that's just a small portion of your life. A trucker in Alabama who has a wife and kids at home. It's a big sacrifice to be out here. You miss a lot of things. Eric Sloop, a trucker in Washington, said it didn't surprise him in the least that the industry was struggling to fill jobs. Sloop said he was usually away for 3 weeks at a time, covering about 2,000 miles before returning home for just 3.5 days. For over-the-road truckers, those who haul freight over long distances, this is a fairly standard work pattern. Truckers are legally allowed to spend about 11 hours a day driving and a further 3 hours on other work tasks. So that's a total of 14 hours. One guy, Robert, says you can't do anything except work when you're on the road. The trucker said when they are on the road, they largely had to live in their vehicles, which Catterman described as a moving jail cell. Some stay in hotels while others, like Catterman, sleep in their trucks. All sites said that the truckers have poor diets because they have to rely mainly on pre-made meals and fast food chains. He said that some truckers keep grills in their vehicles, but this was terrible when it was bad weather. It also takes a special type of person who can be away from home weeks at a time, and some just can't take it, said Ralph Roberts. Roberts said that he was hoping to get a job either driving locally or in the fracking industry, and that he'd rejected multiple job offers for over-the-road trucking because he didn't want to sleep in the back of a truck anymore. So when you look at these things that truckers deal with, even if you improve pay, do you really think that that would have a whole lot of drivers running to say, hey, I'm ready to give up my life. I'm ready to give most of my life to the truck, to being out here on the road, and your family life, your social life, you basically give up on that. How many people are willing to do that? And, what's the solve for that? What's the fix for that? Some people say the answer to that problem is autonomous trucks. I personally think that autonomous trucks are here. They're here to stay, but I don't see that being the biggest part of the industry. I still think the biggest part of the industry will be run by people. People will be actually driving those trucks. But that's just the way that I see it. But of course, we obviously have problems with a shortage of drivers now. And I just wonder, how do you fix that problem? What fixes that problem? That's the question that I want to ask you as truck drivers. What fixes this problem to where you get more people interested in truck driving? More people, younger people. Because I think I read somewhere that the average truck driver age was like 47, 48 years old. So how do you get more or the younger generation attracted to trucking? I would like to know that from truckers. Truckers have been in the truck. They understand the business. They understand the good and the bad of it, what can be changed to improve it. So I would like to know from you, to get a conversation going around this, what is it in your mind that needs to happen in the trucking industry so that you can get more people interested in trucking? So that's what I wanted to talk about today. Thank you so much for spending some of your time with me today. I'm a freight broker. If you haven't followed my channel before, if you're interested in learning about freight broker business, I'm going to leave a link in the description. It's my 5-video series titled How the Load Movement Process Works. It will give you a chance to see me in the office, moving freight, talking to shippers, talking to carriers. That way you can see how it works. And then if you're interested in joining, you can do it in the light instead of in the dark. You've had an idea. You can see the picture and you can try and kind of see, hey, is this for me or is it not? And make a decision based off of that. Or you can continue to look further into it, but this will give you a base to start from. And then I'm also going to leave you my free video tutorial of the load board process, how we move through and use the load board to search for trucks, post our loads, and we use it also as a rate sourcing tool to start forming our rate. So until the next time, I wish you the very best in your life and business. See you at the top, because the bottom is much too crowded.